Sailing around the world, it's the dream, right? Endless horizons, remote islands, and that deep-down freedom only the sea can offer. But here's the truth most folks don't talk about. The ocean doesn't care about your dream. It's beautiful, yes, but it's also unforgiving. And even seasoned sailors can make mistakes that turn an adventure into a disaster. In this video, we're diving into 10 fatal mistakes sailors make when sailing around the world. These aren't just little slip-ups. These are the big ones. The decisions, oversights, or bad habits that can end a voyage before it really begins. Whether you're just planning your escape or already halfway round, these are the lessons that need to be learned. Ideally, before the sea teaches them the hard way. One of the most dangerous mistakes a sailor can make is underestimating the weather. While modern forecasts have improved dramatically, they're not foolproof, especially on long ocean crossings. Conditions can shift fast, and systems that seemed benign when you set off can build into something far more threatening. Relying solely on downloaded forecasts or assuming conditions will match predictions is risky. It's essential to understand how to read pressure systems, fronts, and the patterns of the area you're sailing through. Ocean conditions vary by region and season, and some waters, like the Southern Ocean or the Intertropical Convergence Zone, are notoriously unpredictable. What looks like a manageable breeze on paper might translate to dangerous swell and steep chop in reality. Familiarity with your boat's limits in heavy weather, understanding wave behavior, and knowing when to delay a passage can make the difference between a rough ride and a critical situation. Prioritizing weather awareness, learning how to interpret GRIB files, and having backup plans if the forecast deteriorates are all part of safe blue water sailing. A boat is a complex system where failure in one part can quickly lead to cascading problems. Neglecting maintenance or skipping detailed inspections before a long passage is a gamble many have lost. Corroded rigging, worn hoses, weak battery banks, or a neglected steering system might hold up fine for day sails. But offshore, even a minor fault can escalate fast. Before any major crossing, it's vital to inspect critical systems: rigging, through hulls, engine components, bilge pumps, electrical wiring, and steering gear. Checking that all tools, spares, and backup systems are not only aboard but in working order is just as important. A regular maintenance schedule should be followed closely. Items like sail stitching, winch servicing, and fuel filtration systems need attention long before they fail. Avoiding this step, or doing it half-heartedly, leads to preventable breakdowns that could force dangerous repairs at sea or unexpected detours to remote ports. Taking the time to methodically go through the boat, test systems under load, and deal with issues before departure reduces the risk of emergencies mid-ocean and builds the confidence you'll need when things get tough. Sailing the world successfully depends on more than just having a seaworthy boat. It requires strategic planning. Poor passage planning or ignoring seasonal windows is a mistake that can lead to serious consequences. Every ocean has its patterns: prevailing winds, currents, hurricane seasons, and calm zones. Setting off at the wrong time can mean days of drifting in the doldrums or facing a storm you should never have encountered. Effective planning includes studying pilot charts, reviewing routing guides, and understanding the characteristics of the region you're crossing. Knowing the best departure times for each passage helps avoid the worst of what the sea can throw at you. Timing decisions should account for local weather systems, expected swell, and even entry conditions at your destination. Failing to plan fuel, water, and provisions for delays is another oversight that turns minor inconveniences into dangerous shortages. Route planning also involves alternatives. If conditions deteriorate or something breaks, you need bailout options and ports of refuge identified in advance. Modern tools like weather routing software and AIS overlay can help, but good planning always starts with sound knowledge and conservative judgment. Rushing a crossing or taking a route to save time can quickly become a costly and hazardous mistake. When preparing for long-distance cruising, it's tempting to bring everything: spares, gear, comforts, water toys, it all adds up. But overloading a sailboat, especially in terms of weight distribution and total displacement, can seriously compromise performance, stability, and safety. A boat that sits too low in the water handles differently. It can pound harder in waves, track poorly, and struggle to recover from knockdowns. Excessive weight aft or above the waterline affects trim and increases the chance of broaching. Overloaded decks create hazards during rough seas, and too much clutter in the cabin can become dangerous projectiles. Safety equipment becomes harder to access, and emergency maneuvers more difficult. Weight also stresses systems. The engine works harder, steering components wear faster, and the rig is under greater load. Fuel consumption rises. Ultimately, the margin for error narrows. Smart loading means choosing gear that's essential, lightweight, and multifunctional. Water and fuel should be carefully calculated, not just filled to capacity, just in case. Everything added should serve a clear purpose. Regularly reviewing and offloading unnecessary items can dramatically improve performance and safety, making for a faster, safer, and more manageable boat offshore. Emergencies at sea don't follow a script, and a lack of realistic preparation is a mistake that puts both the boat and crew at risk. Too often, sailors have gear on board they've never practiced using, or worse, don't know how to deploy quickly when it matters most. Flares, life rafts, EPIRBs, fire extinguishers, bilge pumps, all of it needs to be both accessible and familiar. Emergency drills are a crucial, often skipped step. Knowing how to handle a man overboard scenario solo or in heavy seas, how to stop flooding, or how to deal with a dismasting are skills that need to be rehearsed, not just discussed. Situational training builds muscle memory, reduces panic, and helps identify equipment shortfalls before it's too late. Another mistake is not having a plan for common breakdowns, such as losing steering, communications, or propulsion. Spare parts, repair kits, and backup systems are essential, but only if they're usable. A secondary VHF, hand pump, or emergency rudder isn't helpful if it's buried under gear or never tested. Emergency preparedness also includes written procedures, crew assignments, and communication protocols. The time to plan for the worst isn't when it's happening. It's long before you leave the dock. Sailing around the world places people in high-stress, confined environments for extended periods, and ignoring crew dynamics is a serious mistake. Even with the best gear and perfect weather, poor communication or unresolved tension on board can turn life afloat into a nightmare. Personality conflicts, mismatched expectations, and differing comfort levels with risk or routine can escalate quickly when there's no escape. Mental health is just as crucial. Isolation, fatigue, and the pressure of constant vigilance can wear down even the most experienced sailors. Extended ocean passages limit privacy and personal space, and a lack of emotional resilience can impact decision-making and safety. A crew that doesn't talk, listen, or support one another will find their stress multiplying at the worst moments. Establishing clear roles, routine, and ways to decompress are essential. Taking time before departure to align expectations, assess compatibility, and build trust can prevent problems later. Open communication and space for personal downtime matter just as much as good seamanship. Ignoring these elements puts the voyage and relationships at risk. Cruising across borders means navigating more than just oceans. It means dealing with the laws, rules, and customs of different nations. Failing to prepare for the regulatory side of global sailing is a mistake that can lead to fines, detentions, denied entry, or even boat confiscation. Each country has its own procedures for clearance, documentation, visa requirements, and permitted equipment. Missteps like flying the wrong courtesy flag, entering territorial waters without notice, or neglecting proper paperwork for pets, firearms, or high-frequency radios can result in serious legal trouble. Some ports require advance notice or medical declarations, especially post-pandemic. Others have specific quarantine rules or require the use of agents for clearance. Health certificates, insurance policies, and boat registration must all be current and recognized by the destination country. Not knowing the rules in advance often leads to confusion, stress, and sometimes having to turn around. Successful global sailors stay informed with up-to-date cruising guides, embassy websites, and cruiser forums. Respecting local laws and cultural customs isn't just about avoiding trouble, it's part of being a good guest and a responsible sailor. Neglecting this side of preparation is a fast way to turn a smooth arrival into a bureaucratic nightmare. Today's sailors have access to an incredible range of tech: Jeep's chart plotters, AIS, radar, autopilots, satellite communication, and weather routing. But relying too heavily on electronics without reliable backups is a mistake that can leave a boat blind and vulnerable in critical situations. All technology is subject to failure: power loss, water damage, software bugs, or simple human error. Navigation systems in particular should always have redundancies. This means paper charts, a handheld Jeep, a compass, and the ability to plot a position manually. Autopilots can fail. Knowing how to hand steer for hours or rig a wind vane is essential. A lightning strike or failed inverter can take down multiple systems at once. If all your eggs are in the tech basket, you're stuck. Backups also include power sources. A solar panel won't help in weeks of cloud cover without a proper battery bank or auxiliary charging method. And if communications go down, a backup satellite phone or SSB can be a lifeline. Technology enhances safety and comfort, but it can't replace fundamental skills. The ocean doesn't care how advanced your gear is, only how well you handle the situation when it stops working. One of the most dangerous habits at sea is pushing on when everything inside is telling you to slow down or stop. Whether it's ignoring signs of physical exhaustion, overriding weather warnings, or brushing off a gut feeling that something's not right, this mindset can lead to disaster. Fatigue dulls judgment, coordination, and the ability to react quickly. It turns small problems into major risks. Many incidents happen not because of a single error, but because the skipper pushed forward in spite of warning signs: weather deteriorating, systems straining, or crew showing signs of stress or sickness. The pressure to meet deadlines or avoid inconvenience leads sailors into situations they're not ready for. Instincts are honed by experience, and they exist for a reason. When something feels off, it often is. Listening to that inner voice, taking the time to rest, or making the call to delay departure might feel frustrating in the moment, but it's almost always the safer move. Pacing matters in long-term cruising. Knowing when to wait, when to bail out, or when to simply say, "enough for today," is a mark of wisdom, not weakness. The sea rewards caution far more than stubbornness. The ocean doesn't forgive complacency. One of the most fatal mistakes sailors make is underestimating the seriousness of small issues, or worse, developing a casual attitude toward the power of the sea. Every voyage offers lessons, and those who don't pay attention to small warnings often face larger consequences down the line. Loose fittings, frayed lines, a weak pump, or a leaky hatch might seem manageable when conditions are calm. But offshore, the sea has a way of magnifying every oversight. Learning from small failures and addressing them immediately is a discipline that keeps a boat safe and a crew alive. Respecting the sea also means maintaining a mindset of humility. Conditions can change rapidly, and overconfidence is dangerous. Dismissing safety checks, skipping weather briefings, or making decisions based on convenience rather than caution are signs of a sailor forgetting the basics. Every passage is a test. Those who observe, learn, and adapt will go farther, safer. Those who assume "it won't happen to me" are often proven wrong. Respect for the sea isn't about fear. It's about acknowledging its power and your responsibility to be ready every mile of the way. Sailing around the world is an incredible journey, but it's not one to take lightly. These mistakes, they've cost sailors dearly. But the good news is, they're all preventable with a bit of foresight and respect for the sea. So learn from them, prepare well, and trust your instincts out there. The ocean's a tough teacher, but if you sail smart, she'll show you wonders you'll never forget. Take care, stay sharp, and as always, fair winds, my friends. Bye.